24-day food supply. Go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. They also have a deal on there where you can get free samples if you pay the shipping. I think they got, like a 6-day food supply, and you just pay the shipping and it comes to you. We've been trying out some of the new samples. We're about to buy some more food. They've been around the longest. They're the best price. This is where I get it. efoodsdirect.com/Alex to find the specials, or 800-409-5633, 800-409-5633, efoodsdirect.com/Alex, or follow the banners on Infowars.com. Also, I want to tell you about purewaterfreedom.com. If you want to affordably remove fluoride from your tap water, visit purewaterfreedom.com. They have a full line of household fluoride filters. You can even remove fluoride from every water source in your home with a whole house fluoride system. They have a wide variety of filters to remove all types of toxins from your water, including shower and bath filters. The reverse osmosis system will filter radioactive isotopes as well, which they add to the fluoride in a lot of water. Don't believe me, just type it in. It's mainstream news. All their filters are made in the USA. Sorry to the globalists, but they are. Check out their banners at prisonplanet.com or Infowars.com, or go to purewaterfreedom.com to take control of your water supply today. And finally, legislation like Codex Alimentarius threatens our ability to purchase vitamins and supplements in the future. Survival RX is a wonderful organization in the sports nutrition business for more than a decade. And now they've come out with the world's first long-term storable vitamin and nutritional supplement. They created a proprietary triple nitrogen flush manufacturing process that will allow you to store the high-quality vitamins for decades. They have free shipping throughout the end of the month. So I guess that's not much time left for that special. Go to survivalrx.com today for the free shipping and more. Again, survival, the words survival, and then the letters rx.com, survivalrx.com. Okay, and I should also put a plug in for Bob Chapman's newsletter and Midas Resources. If you want to get a free copy, either hard copy or email, of his newsletter that comes out a couple times a week and is invaluable, really cutting-edge stuff that really hits the mark time and time again, you can call 800-686-2237, 800-686-2237. And Midas Resources will send you out a free copy, or you can get a gold Frank coin at already a smoking good deal and get a free year subscription, $159 value to the International Forecaster, either digitally or hard copy mailed to you, 800-686-2237. And lastly, don't forget to support our local AM and FM affiliates by supporting their local sponsors as well. That is just as important as supporting the national sponsors that you hear me talk about here on air, is to support those local sponsors, to let them know you're supporting them because they're carrying this broadcast, and to also spread the word about those local AM and FM stations. They're so precious. We're getting a lot of new affiliates in the last year, thank God. Going back to Bob, I want to get to calls here, Bob, but where is this going? I mean, we know, set up the global derivatives, implode the world economy, always call for more power, more control. And now they've said, Bank of the World, CFR, Trilateral Commission, all these groups have called for it, run by the very same private banks that engineered this, where we pay our VAT, our sales taxes, our carbon taxes. They've got Herman Cain out promoting the VAT and sales tax. Same thing they always do, as if it's conservative. Mitt Romney's now the leader. Gun control, abortion, wrote the government health care plan, loved by Al Gore for carbon tax, and Republicans are saying that's who they want. They want basically Al Gore. So where is America going? Because, you know, there is an awakening. I agree this Europe thing isn't going to work. It's not meant to work. It'll steal more money, fall apart again, and then they'll say, we'll just create a total world bank. I mean, I've been saying this for 16 years, not because I'm smart, but because it's in the Trilateral Commission documents, Bob. You were writing about this in the 70s. We're now here. So what's going to happen in your view? What's coming up in the economy? What should we watch for? What's the next big mega bank to go under? What's going to happen with the derivatives in Bank of America?
Well, I don't think you're going to see banks go under at the top level. They're going to be nationalized, and they'll be split like Dexia was 3 weeks ago in Europe, which is a medium to small-sized bank. And they take all the bad assets and put them under the control of the government involved in the United States in this case, and the rest of it will stay in Bank of America. And all those bad assets, after they're liquidated, whatever losses there are, they belong to the American people. So again, we will bail out the banks. And I would guess that sooner or later, after they've rounded up all the 705 small and medium-sized banks, and they've merged them together, and this will take a while. Once they've done that, they'll all be absorbed into the money center or legacy banks in New York. Then eventually they'll be merged into one bank, and we'll have a nationalized bank. And I wrote 8 years ago they're going to do the same thing with housing. They're going to nationalize it, which I won't get into here.
And by the way, they're now announcing that, and then you won't have a choice. It's going to be basically nationalized, and they're announcing toilet flush taxes, all these hundreds, literally hundreds across the nation of new taxes, and everybody will get paid off. You'll still get your welfare check. It's just it won't buy anything anymore. And then that way no one person can get blamed. How long will it take then to hyperinflate the currency down to nothing? How long does this race to the bottom, how long is that going to take now? I mean, you know, let's say if the late 60s were the start of where we're going, I mean, you can go back to 1913, but really the acceleration, let's say 1965, or am I wrong? Right up to now, let's say on a scale of 100 to 0, the 0 being Banana Republic, Argentina, or even lower, 100 being at the top, 0 being where we're going, where are we there?
Well, at the present scale, QE2 and Stimulus 2 should take us next year probably to about 25% inflation. And we're going to have QE3, and that's coming. And they got it in the works, and they haven't told you about it yet. And the Fed will spend maybe $500 billion or $1 trillion buying the bad assets of the banks. Most of them are what are termed the CDOs and MBSs, which are bonds that contain mortgages. And, of course, we don't know what they're paying for them. We don't know what they're worth. And eventually, those holdings by the Federal Reserve will be paid for by the American public. But what they're going to do at QE3 is once they sent the money over to these banks that have this garbage in return, that money is going to be used to buy midterm notes, an average of 7.5-year notes. And that will help drive down interest rates on those notes like the U.S. 10-year, which is currently selling around 235 on the yield side. It'll bring it back down so that the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage will be 3.5%. I think that's what they're shooting for. But they're also going to say to the banks, look, you go into the market and gamble so that you can drive it up and use leverage to do so. And that is the stock market. What the stock market has just discounted is what you saw go on in Europe, and I'll get back to that in a minute, and what the insiders in Wall Street know what's going on behind the scenes, because that injection of capital from the Fed into the banks will give the banks lots of money to go out and gamble with. And they know that they in Wall Street know that that'll make the market go higher. And so that's why you've had the rally on the Dow for 10,500 up to 12,000 approximately. Now, in Europe, what's going to happen is that they're going to find that, this is unworkable. And all of a sudden, the people in Greece say, I don't care how much money you want to give the government. We're not going to play your stupid game. And they're going to continue to demonstrate, which means the revenues can't come in. They can't pay off the interest on the bonds or the loans. And it's going to deteriorate even further until finally, 3 to 6 months from now, there's a good chance that Greece will go under anyway. Now, the question is contagion. Will the others go under? Ireland's asking right now for a change in loans they would like to get from the European Central Bank at very low interest rates so they can handle them. Now, Portugal wanted to do the same thing. Now that there's been a 50% haircut on this debt and all this money is being given to Greece, if I was in Ireland or Portugal, I would say, hey, wait a minute. I mean, are some animals more equal than others? or are some countries more equal than others? We want the same deal. And if they're not offered the same deal, they're going to default anyway. So the problems are manifold and manifest. They are not going away.
Well, I mean, let's back up here, and then we've got to go to calls, Bob, because people have been holding. I want to get to Dr. Jones and others there. Why do we see the dollar dropping while the stock market goes up? And I have the report from Reuters that it's record dumping of U.S. bonds right now.
Well, they're under the impression that what's going on in Europe is going to work, and they are sadly mistaken. It is not going to work, and so the dollar probably will bounce around 74 or 75 on the USDX, and then move right back up again as the euro comes under pressure again, because people are starting to say, well, maybe this isn't going to work. And so it's kind of a back and forth. But you don't look at currencies. You look at gold and silver. That's where the action is, because you don't want to be in any currencies except what you have to use every day.
Well, I agree with you. And briefly, what do we see happening with gold right now?
It's going higher. It's taking a little respite today, which is fine. Some of the indicators, like the shares, are telling us we're looking for higher prices next week, and it'll fight its way back up to 1923.70, and it'll break it before the end of the year. Probably go to 2,000, 2,200. And then by the end of February, we may see a run at 2,500 and 3,000. It's all there. I mean, who would want to be in currencies with all of the terrible things that are going on?
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the calls here. Appreciate folks holding. Dr. Jones in Canada, welcome and thanks for holding.
All right, thanks so much, Alex Jones. No relation, of course, just for the new listeners. I've been turned on to you since about 2004. I'm a professor. I have a degree in political science as well as a law degree. I'm teaching criminology now in Canada. I just want to let you know and let your listeners know a few things I've been doing and working on. I talk to my kids a lot about propaganda. You know, Edward Bernays, show them that they're being lied to and constantly distracted when it comes to crime. You know, I have a textbook that says, let's look at white-collar crime and let's look at fraud and this, that, and the other. Nothing about the banking scandal. Nothing about the World Trade Organization. Nothing about Codex Alimentarius. Nothing about vaccines killing people. Nothing about institutional problems. The textbook we're using has one mention of Osama bin Laden, nothing on George Bush, nothing on the CIA creating al-Qaeda, promoting terrorism around the world. Again, you mentioned just a minute ago in Bosnia. I used to live in Bosnia, taught law in Bosnia, about that man out there in front of the U.S. Embassy. You know, Bosnia, again, another place, Yugoslavia destroyed by the United States and the banks, and Germany, also Italy wanted to break them up. You know, that's not mentioned in textbooks. And I know you're a good critic, I would say a legitimate critic of professors and school systems and all this. And I guess I would say I'm out there in the wilderness. I'm one. Of course, I have been.
Well, no, that's my point, is that you go to school, and I would imagine you're probably the minority there, and there's always a few professors that are intelligent and have understanding you can learn something from, but most of them, it's just regurgitating. And again, that's how some knowledge is almost more dangerous than none, because then you just have street smarts. Instead, they make these maps of the mind, which that's a great news piece we should actually do to show that, because I know I've seen the textbooks, that's true. Nothing about how at the higher level, how it works and how the fraud takes place. But Bob Chapman can tell you with all of his finance degrees, and I've talked to a lot of high-level economists, famous ones, they'll tell you how stuff really works at the higher level. All they teach is retail stuff. There's no discussion how economies really work. I mean, even bank heads of major, cities who have 20, 30 branches under them don't know this stuff because it's not taught. And that's why this is so scary. Most people are specialized. Even if they're extremely intelligent, have 170 IQ, their whole area is focused on one thing. Like, I'm a biology person that studies tapeworms or whatever. I've been studying them for 40 years and written 9 books on them. And they can tell you everything about the metabolic system and the sexual habits and the variants of the 3,000 species of everything. But they don't have general knowledge. Incredible point. Stay there, but I want to get Bob's take on this. We'll go back to you. Bob, he makes a great point. I mean, really, that's why people are so dumbed down who even have degrees, because they're not looking at the real structure at a certain level. It's like having a 100-story building, and you only look at the first 30 stories, Bob.
And that's true. And that's always been the way. I've never had a higher degree, but I can tell you this, that the gentleman is certainly correct about what they leave out. And I was perennially having